Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guest, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you would recognize our guest. We have Sylvia back on the podcast for it's either her third or fourth time. I kind of lose track after a while with how many times people have been on, and then I go and do my research, so I'll have it down when this gets published. But yeah, as we can tell, she's 1 week out of a show. I mean, I would have guessed that had I not been aware of that ahead of time. And yeah, she's just on to share her journey with us and what she's been up to, and make me feel bad like all the especially some of the older guests do, where I just all of a sudden, even right now, I'm just like, God, if only there could be like exercise I could be doing right now as I'm talking to her. Like maybe I'll do dips in my chair or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, Sylvia, again, it's great to have you on.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for asking me. I'm very flattered.
Well, I ask you this every single damn time. What is the weather like today?
The weather, believe it or not, is a little bit brisk. In California, that's in the 60s. I know, right? But it's nice. I mean, it's nice and clear, but brisk.
So my little brother just found out he got a job. He's going to be moving to San Diego in January for
Oh,
a
that's a
job.
great place.
So yeah, he's got a. It's a. He's the smart one in the family, so it's a very nice job. He's working in my parents' room now during the weekdays when he works. So because both my parents work out of the house, so then he just goes in their bedroom because he tried working in my other brother's room who moved out. It's right across from me, but he's like, I hear you so much talking that I just can't focus on my job. And I was like, well, hey, you can just go to mom and dad's room then. So it works out that way. But yeah, so I'll have someone living in California. But before we get into the pressing
Great
weather stuff,
place.
yeah, hey,
Go
hey,
visit.
great place to visit. Absolutely. Why don't you give us an update? I mean, on what you've been up to over this last year?
Well, let's see. Just the typical training and working, first of all, and was getting ready for Pittsburgh, for Promasters in Pittsburgh, and tore my meniscus. Yeah, so had to kind of put that on hold a little bit, but kept training and opted to do PRP on my knee as opposed to have surgery. So did a couple of those treatments, and fast forward down a week out to Legion ProMaster. So that's in Reno, which is I've never been, so I don't. I'm not sure what to expect, from Reno because I love Pittsburgh. But yeah, so we're going to Reno next week, and we'll be able to drive, which is nice. That part's nice.
Well, they got those Vegas buffets that you got to watch out for.
Yeah. That could be scary. I don't know if it would be scarier for the hotels with all the bodybuilders there, or vice versa, because I mean those bodybuilders are pretty scary after a show.
They better
Food.
they better resend that, eat all you can or whatever like that, just like for
Yeah,
everyone
no
thing, because
kidding.
they might have a run up on that. But hey, they make enough money on the casinos anyway. They should be able to afford it. That's where some idiots, like some of my friends who went there, tried to make their money back by like just eating like pigs for like a full week and then just being like, yeah, if I lose $100, I'll get them back by having like a shake and then like a burgers all the time. It's just like they have it planned. There's no reason. I mean, yeah, I gotta explain. It was like everything that a casino does is planned, but hey, they think I'll just let them think that they're at least doing something to at least put a little dent in the Las Vegas casino industry. But I mean, you do work in the medical field, and it's still been going crazy with COVID. What has this last year been like with that?
It's been busy still. It's slowing down quite a bit. Our numbers are pretty good here. We're still the gyms are still open. We're still busy. We're still wearing masks. We were not wearing masks for a while in the gym, and now we're back to wearing masks, but only when you're walking around. You don't have to train with them, so we don't have to. Thank God, train with them on. So I mean, we're still wearing masks everywhere in the markets, at work, you know. But the numbers are better, and we're not seeing as many people dying from it, you know. So yeah,
I was gonna say thank God because I couldn't imagine you doing cardio at this lean down with a mask on. I was like, come on, that's just
no,
pure torture right there. But
yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, no matter how you are, it's just not normal to do that kind of work with a mask, and I don't know. But I'm just glad. I'm so grateful to have the gym open. I'm grateful for that. So I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Do you still use your garage setup at all?
I do. Yeah, I still use that. I do it. I mean, especially in the morning for cardio, and then I have a couple of things I have to do before cardio, um, right before the shows. So, because it's my workouts get a little crazy right before the show. And Johnny has this torture circuits that he puts us through. I think it's just to see how much we can do. And so we do that. I have to do some stuff before cardio, so it works out perfectly because I have everything I need. And
I was gonna say you're one of the handful of people on the show that actually have a nice setup where they could actually probably survive and maybe thrive a little bit if
yeah,
things got bad again. So at least there's good with that. But when it comes to just your training, what do you think has been one body part that you've improved on the most over the last year?
uh, probably biceps. My biceps are finally starting to come up a little more. Um,
All
yeah,
right, let's get
bicep.
it over with. Let's see the guns then. Jesus, Sylvia. Yep. Oh, yep, yep. They're coming up.
Yeah,
Jesus.
so they're coming up slowly but surely.
Have you been doing anything different with them, or have you just been, just doing the same thing, but just it's finally catching up, or
I think it's finally catching up, and then just being able to go heavier. I had some issues with my right shoulder, so I was having issues as far as being able to go heavy. So that's kind of resolved. Everything's okay in that regard. So I mean, no, I think it's just finally catching up, and consistency. Just work. Just the work is finally starting to prove itself, just like anything else. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. That's a secret.
well, and like with your meniscus tear, how did you deal with all that mentally? Because like you were ready for a show, you were good to go, and then that happens and you can't even like work out for probably significant amount of time. How did you deal with that?
It was funny because I actually did it working on my house with my partner. So we had this deal. I'll take the popcorn down, and he does all the painting, right? So I'm kind of one of these people where if when I get on a I get on a tangent and I start doing this, and I just want to blast it out in a day. So that with a insanely high level of pain tolerance is probably not a good combo. So I came off when I was done. Came off the little ladder I was using because I don't have very high ceilings, and went in to take a shower and took my sweatpants off, and my knee was swollen. So, and I never have swelling on my joints ever.
Did you feel any pain at all before then, or was it just you felt like maybe like a bruise or something?
A little discomfort, but nothing major. So what I did is I just adjusted and started using the other knee to climb up on. That's yeah. I figured, oh well, this is getting a little sore, so I'll start stepping up on the left leg. So that worked. So I come in and I tell my partner, I'm gonna run over to urgent care, and he's like, what's wrong? I said, well, and I showed him. He's like, oh wow. And he goes, do you want me to take you? And I went, no, I feel okay. I'm sure I can drive. I just want to make sure I didn't do anything too crazy. So I went over there, and the first thing the woman says to me is, "Well, at this age, blah blah blah." After and I went, "No, I work out 3 hours a day. This is some, I've never had. This is an acute injury. I'm a nurse, blah blah blah." So finally got an MRI. It took forever for me to get an MRI okayed for, so it just took forever. So yeah, and it turned out it was a torn meniscus. And the good thing is there's a clinic here, and the doctor's just like world renowned for PRP. So not only is he the best, but he's also the best price too, because he does so many of them, that he's able to keep his prices, somewhat affordable. It's still expensive. It's still out of pocket. It's not covered by insurance. But yeah, so far so good. It's been pretty good. I had to really curtail my training, and it was incredibly frustrating. and it's been a really, really hard year because I also opted to stay leaner this year. Um, and that was just mostly because I wanted to see if it would improve my skin tone, which was turned out to be a really good plan. It worked really, really well. And because usually we go up about 20, 25 pounds. Sometimes some people go up 40 pounds. But I only went up 10, 15 pounds. And I was still able to put muscle on. And so did that and then started my prep for Pittsburgh. And then this happened. So I've been in prep for like almost 6 months now, plus no cheat meals for the whole year because I stood leaner. Yeah. Well, and it was my idea. That's the funny part. It was like, okay. So it's been pretty brutal. Um, Mentally, it's been really tough. It's hard, because sometimes you just, you're working and you're crazy busy at work, and you just want to come home and have a drink and can't do that. Stuff like that, or you know, and we like food, and we both, my partner and I, both like to cook. I bake a lot. I make all my own, for the most part, I make my own sourdough bread and things like that. And so it's rough. And then we live in the Napa Valley, so I think next year I'm gonna have to change my plan a little
Please
bit.
tell me that like, he like brings home pizza and just eats it like right in front of you, and is just like, you could be doing this or something like that, and he taunts you. That would be, come on.
No, actually, he feels really bad when he does it, but I'm actually, I've always been okay with it. I'm not. It was, this is the way I look at it. It's my decision to do this. Um, he's not getting a trophy. He's not getting any recognition when he doesn't eat it. So I don't think it's fair for me to ask him not to. So it's not, he's a normal person. So ish, normal-ish. Yeah, he just chimed in the background. So no, and I think I've told you before, he's a competition shooter, so he's very serious about that. So he understands what's involved in the discipline, and it's just different. It's
Well,
just a
he
different
well
kind of
he
game.
can hear this. I always say the spouses or the significant others of the competitors are the unsung heroes of this entire process.
Yeah.
So give yourself a round of applause or pat on the back,
Hmm.
because the amount of stuff that they
Hmm.
have to deal with, it's like, yeah, it's almost as bad as the competitors, but not. But there's just a little bit more, I think. But I mean, especially when it comes down to you staying leaner this year, did you change up nutrition at all then, or I mean, other than the fact that you didn't do any cheat meals, was the intake different at all as well?
Not really, because I always get to eat a lot. So, I mean, but still, even being with someone that eats a lot, that's hard because I completely out eat him. So I'm always eating. I mean, I always have to stop and eat. Well, I got to have this or I got to. Um, but no, because we eat pretty well. We grill everything. I don't have any kind of restrictions when it comes to salt and sauces and things like that, unless it's like creamy stuff, which I don't like anyway. So, if people, I think if people saw my food, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" Even when I take food to work, sometimes they're looking at it. That looks good because I mean, my food is basically all grilled and it's marinated or it's brined or it's whatever because we're not restricted in that regard. But everything is lean and healthy and pretty low, I guess moderate fat, but I'm not on one of these crazy no carb, no fat, no flavor diets by any means. And that's the great thing about having a lot of muscle is my metabolism is just so high.
Yep, that's what I tell people when they talk about maybe like wanting to get started working out. I always tell them, the higher metabolism, you can actually eat more, and you won't put on,
Yeah.
all that fat. But what has your relationship with cardio been like this last prep?
Well, it's been the same 45-minute crazy. We've talked about this before. I hate cardio.
Yep, welcome to the
But,
club.
I'm trying to, like, change my mindset as far as that goes because it really does make you look good. But, yeah, I've the daily cardio is the hardest part for me. Any other the rest of the training, no problem. But I've literally had to do 30 minutes to 45 minutes the whole year.
I literally have to have a movie playing. What do you use to distract yourself? Because I have to have a movie going.
I always listen to audiobooks, motivational stuff on YouTube. I guess I could watch a movie, but I don't have a TV in there. But I listen to all kinds of audiobooks. And I try to just learn something because I try to be productive during that time, which I know is silly, but I do, and I learn. There's some really good books. Like I just listened to um, a couple books by Michael Jordan's old Grossman, I think his name is.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah, so his books are fantastic as far as training and mindset and things like that. And it's so you come out with a lot of really good information and things that can help you in your daily life. So I try to do that.
You gotta get that motivation going early. And I mean, you talked about this previously. Sleep has been something that's been, hit or miss. But what has that been like for you? Because I mean, I have enough sleep as it is, and I'm about 1% as lean as you. So yeah,
It's about the same. It hasn't really improved that much. I'm just not a good sleeper, and maybe telling myself that is part of the problem. So, but
you're just playing the mental game on yourself.
yeah, yeah, maybe it wouldn't surprise me if that's a part of it. But no, it's been tough, and working so much, and I've worked a lot this year because I have two jobs, and so I'm thinking I'm kind of entertaining the thought of giving one of them up, but I'm gonna need to do that, I guess, pretty soon. It's not like I can't. It's just hard to let go of the money, and in all honesty, and I like where I work for the most part, both places. So, and I'm pretty blessed. In California, the nurses get paid really well, so it's a great job. I mean, I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing that I have heard. I do have another friend who's down there who works as a nurse in, is it Santa Monica? I think it might be.
Oh
It's
yeah,
around there. But
Southern
yeah,
California.
yeah, Southern California. Yeah. So yeah, they talk a lot about that. But just, I mean, obviously we can tell you're tired and stuff like. What is this like mentally? This last week for you of the prep, is that where things get really interesting for you, just like mentally, and you get a little bit foggy, or is it you're just so used to living this lifestyle that it doesn't affect you as much?
No, it's when I'm this close to the end, I'm just kind of looking forward to it being done. Um, but what I do is I have a tendency to just I really practice my routine. I really make sure I have everything down, my posing. I work with Ken Wallach, of course, and then I work with another guy, Mike Connell, who is my local posing coach. So he actually puts my program together for me, and then I work with him once a week, and then I do Kenny online. And both of them together really, really help me to kind of dial everything in nicely. And then, of course, I have my regular coach, John Castellana. And I just I try to get things to the point where I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just kind of second nature, and I don't have to, and that for me just keeps my stress level down. So, like right now, the only thing I'm doing is, a little bit of a workout, not much, making sure I get everything together for my trip, getting all my food together, things like that to take on the trip, and the clothes I need, and things like that. Um, I think I have a hair appointment, one more appointment with Kenny on Wednesday, just one final posing appointment, things like that. But no, I feel pretty good. I'm a little tired, um, but I mean, it's not like we eat pretty well, so it's not like when I've had other coaches where I was a lot more tired, and I'm still tired, but I'm on vacation also. I took 2 weeks vacation this last 2 weeks, so I'm able to just focus on the show. That's it. And it was kind of funny because the first day of my vacation, they called to see if I wanted to come in and help because it got really busy, and I couldn't. There was no way I could. But it was just funny to me. My very first day of vacation, I get called. But no, and I think I'm really happy I did this because I was really tired the first week. Now I think because I've been off, I feel pretty good. I've just been able to just relax.
First of all, if my job calls me when I'm on vacation, I'm never even picking up the phone. I don't care. I'll listen to your
Yeah,
message, but
well,
then yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
yet.
was gonna say, if you actually picked up the phone, I'd be like, okay, you kind of deserve to have to go back in then if you do that,
No,
because
you know what? I normally always call them back, but I didn't call this time. That's probably the first time I've ever not called back, and I just was like, no, I'm on vacation. Come on, you guys, and I understand because it does get kind of crazy sometimes. It is babies, so it does get crazy. But I just couldn't. I just could not do it.
well, there's a funny story that broke because I was watching the weekend update of SNL last night, and there was a 14-pound baby born in Arizona. So I wanted to ask you a question: what's the largest baby that you've ever seen or had to take care of when it was born? Like the one that would
13 pounds.
Jesus.
Yeah, 13 is usually the gestational diabetic baby.
Is there any reason why specifically, or
Well, yeah, because of the sugar. There's all this sugar in their system,
oh,
so they're getting everything the mom's getting. So, mhm.
13 pounds? That poor mom. Jesus.
They look like little Michelin men.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I was definitely the biggest out of the big. First of all, I was a fat baby, believe it or not. Like I was like obese, like it was bad.
Uh-huh.
Like I had like a triple chin
I was a
basically when I
fat
was.
baby.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't get, and then I ended up being the skinniest one of the family. So it's funny how that works out for you. But yeah, that
How much did you weigh?
maybe like 9 pounds, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a big baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was the tallest. They knew like whenever I was born that like I was gonna be the tallest and probably in the family and stuff like that. But I think because my older brother was my mom went into like I think she was in labor for like 48 hours for my older brother,
Oh,
and then for me
wow.
apparently it was a lot much easier than my little brother. I think it was
Yeah.
just he just
First
basically
is always the hard.
yeah he's what well. And then the funny thing was, so I was talking to my aunt about this, and my grandma, her and my grandpa tried to have kids for like the first 5 years of their marriage, and then they were about to give up, and then they were about to like adopt. They had 7 kids over an 8-year period after that.
No, I know people that's happened to. Two couples. They as
Yeah.
soon as they adopt, they get pregnant. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So like right as soon as they're about to, all of a sudden she's like, yeah, my poor grandma being pregnant for basically 8 straight years. Good God. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Oh
they
well.
wanted a lot of kids. So yeah, there's that. But I mean, you mentioned posing. Have you mixed up your routine at all from last year?
Oh, it's completely different. And in fact, I'm kind of excited about it. It's my Mike Connell, who is he actually just got his pro card actually. He's a and I think he got his in classic physique. But he's an incredible poser, and he actually put together this amazing routine for me. And he did my last one as well when I got my pro card, but this one's really, really, really beautiful. So, and it's going to be to painted black, and but it's a I can't remember the artist. It's a different version.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get the Rolling Stones copyright claim. I mean, that's gonna be.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's not the Rolling Stones, but it's actually a really. I'm excited. It's a good routine, and then completely different than last time.
Well, I hate to go on another tangent because we did mention a song by the Rolling Stones, but the song "You Can't Always Get What You Want" is based off of when they were in Minnesota and they went to some like local. It was like some local restaurant or something like that, and the guy Mick Jagger I think ordered like a cherry Coke, and the guy said we only have like Diet Coke, and then the guy next to him was made a joke about him. He's like, yeah, I guess you can't always get what you want, but I guess sometimes you might get what you need, and then that's what the lyrics then eventually came into
That's
a
what did
song.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
So that's a whole big. I mean, the Stones have said that it doesn't claim from that, but like there are witnesses there that the guy said exactly that, and then there's like there's a plaque I think there and stuff like that. It's like what inspired the thing. But yeah. So a quick little tangent there, but a question that I asked my last guest, and it's the first time I ever asked that, and I think I'm going to start asking it from now on is. There any pose from the men's category that you wish would be adapted into the women's, or any aspect about posing?
No, I think kind of anything goes. It's funny. I don't ever feel restricted as far as posing. Um, I just think it just depends what you want to do. Some people do crazy
Well,
things.
those stupid hands out things, I always thought that was dumb. It's like, come on. Like when you got to use your
Yeah, yeah.
hands, it's like, come on. How is that? How is that more
Well,
fit?
I mean, it's very girly, but there's the things people do like that. I've seen people tumble on stage. These, and you're in this, you're half naked, blingy suit, and you're rolling around on the floor. To me, and we're not talking graceful rolling. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, but it's no. I mean, I wish it were. What I wish is that the women would get more monetary compensation. It's the I mean, I just think it's really. I mean, I love the sport, and people say, well, if you're going to complain about it, you shouldn't do it. It's not that. It's just when you see the guys in the Olympia making $500,000 and the woman's making 50. That's the only issue I have. I think
When
it's a
like
great
Andrew,
sport.
when like let's be honest, Andrea Shaw would give some of the guys a run for their money.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
she wouldn't win it, but she would definitely probably not be in last place.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's such a big disparity. So, but no, I mean, I don't really have any problem with. I mean, but I don't do bikini. Maybe if I did bikini, I'd feel differently. You know, Even wellness. I mean, the wellness girls this year were spectacular. It was spectacular. I don't know if you saw the Olympia, but they were so beautiful. It was breathtaking. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. And even though you can complain all you want about how sexist that stance is, some of the posing for bikini or wellness, but those girls were breathtaking, and I just thought they were so poised and so classy the way that the girls from Brazil, and I think there was one American in there as well that was in the top five. They were all great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing any of the other women, but those Brazilians, boy.
Well, if anyone wants to say the pose is sexist, I'd say it's pretty sexist to make the guys out there wear something so small that it barely hides their manly area, basically. So that's a little sexist
Yeah,
in that. So, but no, it's like, first of all, I don't think you could really say something sexist if the people like willingly do it. Like if they're not
no,
complaining about it and stuff like
exactly,
that,
exactly.
it's like
It's a
yeah, it's like
choice.
yeah, yeah. If someone had
It's a
if
choice.
someone had a gun to their head and said like do that, then that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But like yeah.
No, it's a choice, but a lot of even a lot of the women in different categories were like, "Oh my gosh, look at that pose, or look at this, or look at that," because the bodybuilders don't have to bend over.
Well, those Brazilians already have that sort of like spice and flair anyway. That like that
Oh
just comes natural for them. So that's just
my God, it was just so beautiful, though, so beautiful. I mean, you just can't. There's just certain things that can't be denied. Like some people were saying, someone was saying, "Well, I heard it's very political." And I went, well, I think it to some extent maybe, but not really. I've never really felt judged as far as like my judging was political or unfair. I think if you're great, it can't be. They can't deny you. You're either good, great, or you're not. So if you feel like you're not winning because it's political, then you need to work harder and make sure that they know that you're way better than everybody else. So that's just the way it works. You just go in there and you work your and then you win. You can't be denied.
I brought her up before, but I mean, yeah, if you do look like an Andrea Shaw and you don't win, then you know it's political and then you know it's rigged. But like
Yeah.
if you look if you look like that, I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, anyone that says that it's political and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to say that it's never been political for any of the competitors that have ever stepped on that stage. Of course it has been, but yeah, it all depends. It's just like
I mean, and it doesn't matter because if you don't belong somewhere, you're going to get knocked off. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works. You can win a show politically, I guess. But this is a hypothetical thing. But if you can't hold your own, you're going to get knocked out. You have to be able to hold your own.
I always tell people it's just like being a pitcher and dealing with different umpires who have different strike zones. I mean,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
like if you throw the ball right down the middle, no ump in their mind is going to call it a ball, and if they do, then then the batter's gonna turn around and be like, "You're not calling this game fair. Like, let's go, come on, Blue."
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Hmm.
so it's
No, greatness can't be denied. It just can't. So it's, even even there's been, even if, people will question certain wins, like my one of the wins that I did, or one of my second places when got my pro card. Somebody questioned it. Oh, you should have won that, or blah blah blah. Whatever. You know what? It
I'd say
doesn't
meet me
matter.
outside in the parking lot. Then let's go.
It's like whatever. I mean, I'm happy. I'm good. I got my pro card.
That's a dick move though, to like question that. It's like, come on, let them celebrate, and then maybe you can say it to like your friends and stuff like that, but don't make it like public, like a whole public thing. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
that's stupid.
Yeah, no, this was in the line walking off stage, and I'm just like, I looked at the woman and I went, I'm good. I'm good.
Jeez.
It's all right.
Oh, it was a competitor. It wasn't just like someone who was doing the. Oh wow, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was one of the competitors that felt that that the only reason that I didn't win this one division was because I already had 2 wins.
Oh, I thought they were saying like, oh, I don't get why you won. Like, you don't look. I thought they were like,
Oh, no, no,
oh, I
no,
thought they were
no.
like,
She thought
that's
I
why. That's
should
why I was
have.
saying like, you got to tell them like, meet me outside and stuff like that. I thought, oh, but they were actually saying like, oh, you should have
Oh,
won.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
No, no. And I just thought that that was just kind of like, no, I think we're okay. I think we're all right.
I was gonna say, because had someone actually called you out like that, you should have started swinging then. Like, if you won and they told you like, I don't think you deserve to win,
No,
you'd be like, okay, what the hell?
no. That would be pretty ballsy, actually.
That would be. I mean, I would. It might be a certain point where I'd be like, okay, I respect you for it, but I'm still gonna have to fight you. Like, that's that. But know that you've gained amount of respect for me. But yeah, that's. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that happening. And that's when you sort of like butter up the.
No.
That's when you butter up the floor that like she's walking on. Then when she's leaving the place, or something like that in those heels. But I mean, yeah, just the weird year that we've been in, and with everything that's been going on. I mean, what is the one thing that you're looking forward to most in this off season?
um, Cheat meals.
Any one meal in particular that like you're literally like just drooling about?
You know, I don't know if it's one thing in particular. I really would like to have a drink. Be nice to have a cocktail. It's just relaxing. Um, I don't know. There's a few things I want. There's a few things. I'd love to have like some chips and salsa. I haven't been able to have that, and it's funny because one of my girlfriends, or my partner and my friends, wants me to try this salsa so badly, with the chips, and I don't know. Of course, maybe some pizza. I'd love to have a burger. I haven't had a burger and pizza or anything like that in so long. Um, I get to have bread a lot, so I have lots of carbs, things like that. But a donut, something like, things that you just most people get to have pretty regularly, but I haven't had it. God.
You're just making me think about pumpkin pie. To be honest, that's the thing that I'm
Yeah,
just.
actually, pumpkin pie would be great
Ooh.
too.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
get to have pumpkin though. I
ooh.
get to have pumpkin with because that's one of my snacks. I can have pumpkin, not right now, but on the off season I have pumpkin with a little cinnamon and stevia or whatever, and that's pretty good.
We grow some in the backyard. We grow pumpkins in our backyard, so we got that going on there. But I mean, obviously, since you've been in this prep for so long, are you worried at all about the off season and the post show blues, or are you just ready to just basically put on weight now?
I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty, I guess I've been doing this so long that it doesn't really I don't go too crazy as far as, and I have a coach that really oversees us pretty well. He doesn't give us a hard time, but he just makes sure we understand the ramifications. So I I eat pretty much what I want the last few days, like after the show, and we're coming back on Monday, and I'll start back like probably on Monday or Tuesday. But I don't really eat, like I don't really go crazy binging, and when I eat things, I kind of take my time and savor the experience and that sort of thing. I don't go nuts and pour bags of candy in my mouth and things like that. And I just think it because I've been doing it for like 12 years. It's been a long, long time. So I don't really enjoy the food if I eat it like that. And I kind of try to take it like day at a time. Like something, one of the things I had when I got my pro card, which I didn't even think about having, was when I got to the I was really, really exhausted emotionally when I got to the place where we were eating. It's a bar that we go to that has really good food, really good pizza, things like that. And I had some clam chowder. And that was the best clam chowder. That and bread and a cocktail. That was amazing. And I never would have thought, oh, I want clam chowder. But stuff like that. I just kind of take it one day at a time. Maybe a little ice cream would be nice.
I mean, last weekend I got turned up on hard cider, and I didn't even think I could ever get drunk on that, and I did.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
that stuff actually, yeah, that stuff does taste pretty good. I got a fun idea for you though. So if you do win on the show, you take what number they gave you on your stage thing, and you go to a roulette table, and you put some money down on that number for roulette. That's your lucky thing then.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Hey, so when I
I'll have
was one of my biggest wins when I was 25, I went to the casino and I put $20 on 25, and I won that. So I won $720.
Oh, I might have to do that.
Yeah, that was the luckiest I've ever been in my entire life. But otherwise, yeah, I'm a huge. And that's the only thing I ever do whenever I go to casino is roulette. I screw blackjack. That's the most for me. It's roulette. I just like that. That's a little bit of a thrill better because it's so much quicker.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you're due for some good luck for about
We'll
now.
see.
So
We'll see. I don't know.
I think so. I think it's time.
I'm just waiting to be like walking down the street one day and having some guy with a Lamborghini pull up and be like, "Hey, do you want this car?" And then just toss me the keys, and I'll just be like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, fine."
Yeah, cool. No, but be a new girlfriend in there and
I'm
everything.
waiting to find a briefcase with like $1 million in it too. I'm looking around patiently waiting for that to happen too as well. So
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens. And I mean, as obviously as we get closer to Halloween, do you have any fun plans for Halloween or anything?
Well, I have to work, but I work 5 minutes from my house on that day. So John and I always get dressed up and have we'll have candy for the kids because we get a lot of kids down here in Napa. So I'm hoping we're going to get more than last year. But I love Halloween. So we always decorate the house, and
Did you get any people last year? Because we didn't get anyone, and we live like in the
we
suburbs too,
got
but like
we
no one
got
came.
very few. Maybe, gosh, maybe 20 or 30, maybe.
Yeah, we didn't get any. I mean, we saw like one or two kids
Yeah.
walking around, but yeah, there was nothing. Hopefully this year is going to be a little bit better, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope so because it's one of my favorite holidays. So I'm hoping. I'm just looking forward, honestly, to just being over the prep.
Well, and we got screwed last year though, because last year was perfect because Halloween was on a Saturday, which is like the perfect day for it, and now it's got to be on a Sunday, so everyone's got to go to work the next day. But it's
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
only. But yeah, and then I mean, I ask you this question every single time too that you're on the podcast, but I love to hear the answer. Is that I mean, other than the monetary stuff, is there any one thing that you'd also like to change more about the sport of bodybuilding?
I'd like to change. Probably because of my age, I'd love to have more masters competitions. You
I've said
know,
this 100 times. You guys are the most impressive out of anyone, just because at your age to do. I've always said that too. It's like, yeah, the older you are to still be doing this. I mean, I had a 73-year-old on, and I was like, why? Like, first of all, I asked her like, why? Like, why are you doing? But then I was like, that's even. I mean, yeah, people don't. I honestly do think that it should be like more respected, more appreciated the older you get, because it's easy when you're 27, my age, to like
no,
getting.
I disagree. I think that every age has its challenges. I think in a lot of ways we have a lot more experience and a lot more
Oh,
muscle maturity.
I mean, like the stamina is a little bit easier at my age and stuff like that. You can get up in the morning a little bit or easier with with some of the stuff. I don't
For me, particular, I
know,
don't
but then again,
feel.
everyone, she is a genetic freak who has a high pain tolerance, so don't take her word for
Yeah,
it.
that part's true. No, I feel pretty good.
Not every 60-year-old tears their meniscus and then doesn't feel it really. That doesn't happen often. And I was gonna ask you too about like obviously with what's been going on with this last year with a lot of deaths in the sport, and it seems that like a lot more of attention has gotten into sort of like the diuretics and stuff that are used in the sport, because I was familiar with it. I knew about all that stuff. Like I knew about all the other stuff that people take, but I wasn't that familiar with the diuretic approach. And from what I've learned, it's like I don't get why anyone would first of all do that, because the people I've talked to that have tried diuretics are like, don't ever do it again. But what has that been like for you, slowly seeing that like this has become a topic that's more acceptable and more widely like ready to discuss like some of the extremes that people go for in the sport?
Well, what's interesting to me is I get asked a lot from just people in general, um, about protocols, that they're on, or about, oh, I've heard, or what do you think about Anavar? Just aside, just steroid. Well, I think it's illegal, and I don't think you need to take it, kind of thing. And this is a housewife that isn't even talking about competing. This is just someone that, oh, I've been lifting, this is the heaviest I've gone, and this and that, and so now I'm thinking, somebody had mentioned I should maybe try this, but I'm thinking, why? Why would you? So I think I guess the point I'm trying to make with that is there's people that are just kind of throwing these names around or these things around, and they don't really understand what they're getting involved in. And with the diuretics, I don't understand that at all, because I mean, the whole point of, like, right now I'm drinking almost 2 gallons of water a day so that I can carve up and have water to pull into my my muscles. Why would I want to do a diuretic, and or that crazy amounts of diuretic, and go in looking flat? That's what keeps me looking full and sexy. I mean, if you want to
That's
talk
what people have
about
taken and said. It doesn't make you come in like firm. It makes you come in like flat and stuff like that. So I don't even get why. Yeah,
exactly,
I that's the one thing that boggles me even more, is that it does, for the
yeah,
vast majority of people, it does more good than it does, or bad than it does good.
yeah, and in all fairness, I think that to some extent, I mean, I think the coaches should be held accountable, but at the same time, you should always know why you're doing what you're doing. Why is my coach telling me to do this type of bicep curl as opposed to this type, or this type of shoulder exercise as opposed? You should know why you're doing your exercises. If they're giving you any type of supplements to take, you should understand why. Vitamins, uh, you know, something simple as, like, okay, so we don't have iodine in our salt anymore, right? So you need iodine to help your T4 convert to T3. So most people don't know that.
You're
So
you're
there's
speaking
things that
Spanish to me right now. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm just gonna nod and be like, "Yep, okay, T3 to T4, got it."
yeah, there's certain things that naturally happen in your body if you have the nutrients you need. So, and that's not something you necessarily have to learn from bodybuilding. That's kind of, I think the first time that I ever heard someone talk about iodine was Rich Roll. I think was talking about it. You know, who was very huge in wellness. But other than that, I hadn't heard. People don't know what they need anymore, and why we take things, and I want to understand everything that's going into my body, why I'm doing this, what I'm taking. Why am I taking citrus bergamot, or why am I taking, curcumin as opposed to turmeric? What's the difference? That sort of stuff. Because a lot of people are taking turmeric, but the active ingredient is actually curcumin. So that's the bioavailable stuff that you need. So things like that. People just, and after doing this for so many years, and especially with access to the internet, there's no excuse. So even though I think the coaches should be held accountable, the competitors need to know what they're putting in their body, and they need to take responsibility. Um, but there are some coaches that I think are a little bit crazier than others, but still, bottom line, you have to take responsibility for your own health.
I mean, yeah, I know a guy that does HGH and he doesn't even work out. And I'm just telling him, I'm like what, like what, like what? Like, why? He's like,
Yeah.
I just need a little bit more testosterone. And I was like, I literally,
Yeah.
I laughed at his face, and I'm not gonna lie, but I laughed in his
Yeah.
face where I'm just like, why are you doing? But yeah, I mean, some people,
But there's people that do steroids that do that.
yeah,
They do, you know, just because they think, and then they bench press once a month and think that, they're buff. So I don't think people understand it, especially with bodybuilding. It's a completely different thing. Like somebody was talking about the steroids in bodybuilding at work, in fact. And I went, well, you're not even using it for the same reason as it's more of a recovery tool as opposed to something you're using like to make you run faster and jump higher,
well, people don't
kind of
realize
thing.
the vast majority of steroid use is for recovery for any sport, really.
It
That's
is
why it's
recovery.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're not using it to just all of a sudden get huge. It just makes it so that you can work out more and you can recover more so you can continue to work out for longer than if you hadn't taken it. That's what the majority of people just have, that image of like some person getting injected and then all of a sudden their arm just gets bigger and then they're just like, yeah, that's great. So yeah, unfortunately does not
No, I
happen
mean, I
unless
remember.
you use synthol.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a whole different thing.
I was gonna
But
say, I was gonna say, Sylvia, if you got really desperate to grow your arms, you could have just taken the synthol route.
I know, right? Yeah. In fact, let me write that down. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but
those guys
I
that post
mean,
those videos and they have like 30-inch arms and stuff like that, and you're just like, dude, like everyone knows that
well, it
that's not
doesn't
real.
even. It looks funny though. It doesn't even look. There's no. It doesn't look vascular. The whole point is you want to, especially now, because a lot of the stuff, a lot of the reason I think a lot of these people are doing this is they want to look so vascular and so, but still that doesn't even make sense because even your veins get flat if you're dehydrated. But I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand how it works.
I don't either. I mean, I need someone to come on here and explain to me, the chemistry behind all that, because yeah, it's all foreign to me. But when we do have you on another year from now, where'd you like to be at just in your bodybuilding? Where'd you like to be at just in your overall life? Where'd you like to be at?
I would like to have done. I plan to do Pittsburgh. My Promasters in Pittsburgh, just because I want an excuse to go to Pittsburgh. I just love it there. So I'm gonna probably. That's my plan is to go and do another master show there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do open next year or not. So I haven't decided. We'll just have to figure it out. Just see where I'm at. I want to have no injury when I do the open shows because I'm going to be going up against the other girls in that are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, and I think I'll do well. I think I can still hold my own, but I want to be able to make sure I'm a contender. I don't. It's a very serious thing to me. I don't just do it just to go up and compete. I want to do well. I want to win. I don't want to just go up there and compete or just say just so I can say I did it.
And when it comes to, eventually stopping bodybuilding, do you have any like age when you're like, if I reach this age, I'm done, or are you one of those people where like you're basically just gonna have to drop dead on the stage, basically?
It's kind of turning out that way. That's funny. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, because
Sometimes I think, like,
I always find it funny because I have Maria Flores on a lot, and she every year that I talk to her,
oh my God, yeah.
oh, I'm done after this year, and then I'll message her like 6 months later, and then
Mhm.
she's like, yeah, getting ready for another show, and I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Well, I'm just not sure. Sometimes it gets to me mentally, because it is hard as far as your lifestyle. Um, and it's not just the workouts. It's just it would just be nice to be able to just maybe when I really retire, whenever that's going to be, and start to travel more and that sort of thing. That would be nice to just be able to retire and travel and not have to worry about so much. I don't think I ever would not work out though. I mean, that's even when I travel, I work out. My brother was laughing at me because I went to my nephew's graduation in Mississippi, and I have a little gym that I go there, and I get up at 7 in the morning, and he makes me coffee, and we talk. I go do my workout. I come back, at noon, and it's just what I do. And he's it's so funny because one of his buddies was saying, "You got up that early?" And he goes, "Well, she gets up at 7 in the morning to go work out." But I don't know that I would ever not do that. And I like doing it because I meet people. So you meet a lot of locals and you get to kind of traipse around the area a little bit. So I don't know, Ryan. I'm hoping I can do it. I would love to be able to do it till I'm 70. Because there's a couple of figure competitors. I think there's one Sanderson.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of her?
Yeah, I've heard of her. Yeah.
She's beautiful, and she's going to be. I think she's turning 70. She's beautiful, and I actually DM'd her and told her what an inspiration she was. She's just, oh my god. And then somebody said to me, well, you look better than her, and blah blah blah, at work. And I went, no, 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 you don't understand. This is not about competition. This is about, this woman's going to be 70 years old, and she looks freaking phenomenal. And I'm sorry, but I have to give credit where credit is due. And that's the great thing about the sport, is that we all understand what's involved. We know how hard we have to work, and
Yep. Just that lifestyle. And I mean, lastly, is there, if someone walked up to you and said, like, hey, I want to give bodybuilding a shot, what's the one piece of advice that you would offer them just before they got even into the, sort of the rabbit hole that is bodybuilding?
well, probably just tell them, if you really really want to give it a shot, you have to understand that it's just all about consistency. If you can do something every single day, um, 365 days a year, that's all it is. I mean, it's a very consistent thing. It's like anything else. I think I don't want to discourage people, because it's I'm the only person that I know that does it still. In my whole every single bodybuilding friend I've ever had, I'm the only one that still does it. And this is over the last 12 years. And I've had some friends, and actually one of my very best friends, she just stepped aside for a minute because she's going to the police academy. I'm pretty sure she's going to be back. But other than her, um, it's a really hard thing to stick with, because it's not even just that you don't have the will. You have to go on with your life. You have to be able to make it central to your life to be successful at it.
Well, that's especially what I meant when I'm talking about, like, it's easier for people younger too, because like you don't have as many responsibilities. You don't have, you don't really, most of them don't have families yet. They don't have, a lot of them, some of them are still in college, where once you finally get to that, where it's like, oh, now you got to go to a 9 to 5 and you got to do all that. Then that's when your time commitment really needs to develop.
You know what it is? You know what it is, though, Ryan? I think that for me, that's not a factor. Um, I have always made it like, instead of working my bodybuilding around my work, I work my work around my bodybuilding. So everything revolves around my work, my bodybuilding. So the hours I work, even people know, if you want me to work extra, I'll come in anytime after 1, you know, or I'll come in on this, and they know why. And it's to some people it's kind of silly, but when people start to really see you, like when people see pictures of you, they're just like, oh. So I think it's just I think that no matter what age you are, at least for me, my experience is that in order for me to be successful as a bodybuilder and to make progress, consistent progress, is I had to make it the number one priority in my life. That means I have to work to support it, but I can't let it be more. But I can't let the work that's supporting it be more important than the actual sport. And there'll be times when I'll work 12 hours and I'll still go to the gym and I'll be exhausted. But I still have to go and do what I do, and it's because of my commitment to this sport. I don't know where that comes from. Seriously. It just is what it is, and I don't even try to figure, understand it anymore. It just
You're gonna need to pay
and I
a
don't
psychologist a lot of money to figure that one out. So
Yeah, and it's not even about, oh, I have to look this way or I have to weigh this much. I'm so beyond that. It's not about that. It's more that this is what I've committed myself to doing. And I think, and what keeps me going is because I know I'm improving still, and I want to see how far I can take it. And it's just kind of like, it's like people will say, well, you really should stop, or you're thinking and that, I bet you that's the same reason other people continue, because you think, okay, well, I'm getting tired or this is happening, but then you see your improvements and you're just like, I'm still improving. I'm how old? I wonder if I can do next year. And then, and it's little tweaks here and there, and you're just like, damn. So, there's this part of me that's, well, yeah, but I at least have to do open shows, and I at least have to do top three in open shows, and maybe I can even win one, that kind of stuff. And even though it sounds at 63, 65 preposterous to a lot of people, oh, you're never going to beat, the 30 and 40 somethings. Why not? Why not? I mean, who knows? It's you don't know until you give it a shot and try. And I have a damn good coach. So,
And
you know,
I mean, you mentioned improvements, and I mean, every gym bro is asking because, like you said, your arms did improve in your 60s over a year. So, what does an arm day look like for you? Because every one of my gym bros is like, okay, if she can improve in her 60s, like, I need to figure out what she's doing.
you know, gosh, I actually do on my bicep with my back workouts, just back and biceps. I might add two or three exercises in there, heavy, you know, and that's kind of what's worked for me. If I have a weak body part, like let's say oh, that's right. When I during the whole COVID thing, for some reason I felt like I lost my rear delts. So I started working my rear delts 3 times a week. Bada bing, they're back. Stuff like that. And I just kept going and going and going. And yeah, every time I would do back and bicep, I would throw in an extra rear delt, you know, superset. And I don't know, you just keep working harder and harder. And then while you're doing that, you tweak your ab stuff, and like when I used to post for Kenny, you know, he would have me turn because I had kind of a wide waist. No more turning this year, which I thought was interesting. So it's just, I think what happens is just one year builds on another year, builds on another year. So, let's say the guys that want the crazy bicep workout, um, that isn't something I have to do anymore. It's more of a just
Accessory,
using my
basically, yeah.
back workouts and and then just kind of tweaking it here and there, because I noticed that my bicep workout, I mean my arm workouts aren't too crazy anymore. That he's giving me. And Johnny likes to keep his girls kind of feminine. He doesn't like to. That's one thing I notice about him. He doesn't like the girls us to get too blocky and big.
Well, I wish I can get to that age where I don't have to worry about, tweaking up any of my arm workouts then. So hopefully I'll get there eventually. But yeah, and lastly, is there
You
anyone that
will.
you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
Oh, well, my partner John, of course, always. He's my god. He's just so supportive, and he's just great. He acts as my runner, and he's working his ass off right now in his own job, and he's actually having to take time off to go with me, which I could probably go by myself, but he really wants to be there in case I need things. And
Oh, boo hoo! I gotta take time off to go to Vegas. Oh no.
but Reno. I wish it was Vegas. That would be cool. But no, he's just always there and super supportive, and the loudest guy in the room. Boy, let me tell you, the loudest guy in the room, loudest cheerleader.
And that's the support that's worth,
Yeah.
its
And
weight
then
in
my
gold.
girlfriend Andrea also. Andrea Fetzer, she just checking in with me. And I have just girlfriends at work, that are actually a couple friends coming down to visit or coming down to the show. I have friends from the gym, lots of friends from the gym coming down to the show because it's close.
That's awesome.
So that should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we wish you nothing but the best in that. We'll probably have the results posted on this podcast when it gets published, and we'll talk about how she won. But again, Sylvia, thank you so much for coming on again. You're one of the longtime guests, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Okay, Ryan. Thank you so much for asking me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot. Excuse me. Well, I forgot to mention, too, the good thing that hiccup came in time, because I forgot to mention everyone go follow her on her Instagram. You'll get inspired to get off that couch and stop eating those Twinkies. And again, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.